So you're the man that rules the world.
I am not going to be a mouthpiece for language that I detest.
Hi, I'm Opie.
Welcome, one and all. I'm Casey.
And I am DC.
And we are two goddamn gentlemen, bringing to you this and every week a celebration of all things stretching your love beyond just one wife and stretching your love beyond her life.
Yeah, that was a creepy tale you told of that gentleman last week, Casey.
A great suggestion from the great Patty Dix. Head over to twogoddamngentlemen.com to vote on all the gentlemen, as well as find the links to the Twitter, the YouTube, and the Patreon, where you gain access into the live Discord during all free and bonus episodes. A brand new Ladies of the Night was just recorded, and I will be editing both of them, and they'll be both out probably on Sunday. So go to the Patreon because, I mean, DC, just give a little insight.
I was crying laughing at least 2 or 3 times that episode, and you know it's a good episode when you come away from it like red-eyed from crying. It's so fucking funny.
It was a good time, and Discord says we need money desperately. DC,
desperately, we need money, guys.
If you would please read back the minutes to last week's meeting.
So your weirdo, Carl Tanzler should be
Tanzler. How dare
totally
you?
misspelled that. Totally a gentleman somehow. +5 with that creepy doll he made out of wax and whatever else.
Everyone enjoys a weird guy. Everybody enjoys him. You know, it just works on this show. Like, think about, what was his name? Was it fucking Lucas Werner? Was he the one of the weird guys that
got voted down
up?
into oblivion?
Who am I thinking of that got voted up like that? It was
H.H. Holmes got up a little bit.
Holmes fits that
your
category.
Demon Doctor, the other guy, Adams.
Lustig was kind of a weird guy that got voted up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, people like most of the weirdos. My weirdos, maybe not yours.
Yeah, maybe not, because Joseph Smith, not a gentleman. Somehow, -11. I don't know what happened.
Well, what did everybody else vote for? Forget about what you voted.
Well, I only gave him a -2, honor system. But a lot of other people not fans of Joseph Smith and fans of, true love, which is what the Tanzler story really was about.
That he was, in the end, a romantic.
I think so. Hopeless. Casey, let's get to the top. Let's get to the top 3. Mm-hmm. Why don't you go ahead and go from, 4th down? Let everybody know.
You got it. All right, so just outside the top 3, just off the podium, standing off to the side where he belongs, is Harry Vox at a +73.
Mumbling weirdly to himself.
That's right. Steven Crowder on the bottom step at a +89. Trump at a +127 in second place. And still on the top step, the ultimate gentleman, Mel Gibson, +131. We will bring him back up in a minute. DC, the bottom.
Very nicely done. KC, you know him, you hate him. At the very, very bottom, Tommy Tudor. No changes. -466 this week. Joe Biden at a -250. Again, nobody catching him. Jake Paul moved up into that third to worst. He keeps it at a 161 in the negative. And moving up to take the place of a gentleman getting retired today is your boy, Onision, at a -20. So, not completely
-120,
out of the
not
realm.
-20.
What did I say, -20? I think I said -120. Definitely
maybe
120.
it just skipped out on me.
Definitely 120.
Indeed.
So, KC, without further ado, it just leads right into it. Perfect transition. My boy, DarkSydePhil, is getting retired today. There he is.
Such a flattering picture of him.
Mid-cum, -155. You have to. We're retiring him, chat. Sorry, retiring him. -155. He's gone. Maddox is gone. Russell Greer's gone. They're never truly gone because they'll fuck up and we'll bring in some news story when they rape somebody or their mother in Chris Chan's case. But, minus 155, it's where he will, at least as far as his gentleman ranking goes, he is a 155 in the negative forever. And I think that's appropriate.
If he has a Michael Vick-esque turnaround, he will still stay at minus 155.
Or if he becomes a woman, we'll nominate him on the ladies' night.
He can come back. That's perfect.
Where there's no voting. No voting for the women's show. No voting.
We haven't caught up to the times yet with that.
Anyway. So Phil has, what has Phil been up to? Casey, next image. It's pretty clear what Phil's been up to. Still not on Twitch. Bummer. That's too bad.
They can't get rid of him on YouTube yet, huh?
Apparently not. He's, I think he's monetized there doing super chats, which if that's the case, we may have a good DSP update.
That would be fun. That would be a good time.
That's it for DarkSydePhil. You want to retire your boy? Kind of?
Yeah, kind of retirement, DC. Mel Gibson, it has been... That's a great thing. It has been a year since his nomination, but he is the ultimate gentleman.
Right.
So voting is closed, but his plus 131 remains the benchmark. Once it's overtaken, if it's overtaken, then he can
Trump's
be
at
retired.
127.
Yeah.
It'll be overtaken next week.
It'll be
Trump.
over.
Trump.
So this will be the last time we hear of Mel unless he decides to leave some more voicemails.
Yes. And he will. Apparently he's gotten into the TikTok thing, so Mel might be back.
Might have to be
KC, speaking of Donald Trump, this is kind of a small update just because you reminded me of it. Donald Trump in the latest polls shows that he would beat Joe Biden right now. Trump would.
Yeah, but Biden will bounce back.
Yeah, they'll inject him with something.
It's going to be it's going to be your boy. It's going to be Ronnie D.
I hope it's Vermin Supreme. I'm going to do everything I can to put out the word. I'm going to spam that episode of Vermin Supreme all year long, everywhere. To like CNN's Instagram. I'm going to put it. That's a good idea that I came up with too, and I think this is a good. You probably would agree with this. I'm just gonna fucking troll the shit out of people on Instagram under my Gentleman DC account. Just be like, "Who's this asshole that keeps making fun of me all the time?" And then get people to come to the show that way, because we want people that hate us and also that hate those people.
That's that's
a little clue into the next ladies.
That's a good description of what we're doing. Yeah, DC. So Mel stays frozen in time at a plus 131, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But Trump in the polls. Trump's going to be at the top of the polls here shortly.
I hope so. I sure fucking hope so. All right, Casey. I think it's time for your boy.
Yeah, it is. It's my open, and I had a gentleman. I pulled a bunch of clips earlier in the week, but then had no time to go through and edit them. And I think that he's a really good gentleman, but I was going to give myself like 90 minutes today to try to go through like 48 minutes of stuff and edit it together. It was never going to be good. And I wanted to make sure I didn't waste this guy. So I knew what you were doing to close. And I said, this is a perfect opportunity for one of my favorite gentlemen. Casey loves himself a historical gent, and that's what I'm going to bring to you tonight, DC.
Perfect. One of your unknowns?
No, this one,
Ooh.
I would describe him as prolific, if I could. DC, I give you fourth of his name, Ivan Vasilovich, a.k.a. Ivan the Formidable, a.k.a. Ivan the Fearsome, a.k.a. Ivan the Terrible.
Yeah. I know him well, Casey. This is going to be a fun ride.
Yep,
that dude was a fucking bastard.
He was quite the gent. And there's going to be a few different Russian historical things that I know you'll be able to expound upon at least a little bit, and a couple of religious things that I think you'd probably be able to have your own nomination from. So DC, you recently nominated Huang,
Yes.
the first emperor.
Qinzi Huang.
Huang, the first emperor in the whole of China. Mm-hmm. So I'll see your first emperor, and I'll raise you the Grand Prince of Moscow, and the first Moscow ruler to declare himself the Tsar of all of Russia.
It's badass.
It certainly is. He was the son of Vasily III, and Vasily had a beautifully 1500s death.
Oh, that sucks. You know what that means his name is? If he's the third, the way that Russians do their name, like if your dad was Steve, you would be Casey Stevevich. So that's where that comes from. So it's like, Ivanovich. If anybody has the middle name Ivanovich, it's because their dad's name is Ivan. Oh. So that's how Russian. So his name was Vasily Vasilyevich.
That's brutal.
That sucks.
That's brutal. So not only did his name suck, but the end of his life sucked. He had an abscess and some inflammation in his leg, which naturally in the 1500s, that's going to become blood poisoning, dead. And 3 years old, they're like, little Ivan or Ivan. I'm going to call him Ivan. I know it's Ivan,
yeah, call him Ivan.
Call him Ivan.
It's weird. Ivan is weird. It's just natural now. Call him Ivan.
All right, so Ivan at 3 becomes the Grand Prince of Moscow. Just a gentlemanly start. His mother acted initially as the Queen Regent, but died after the crypt fell on her, or she was poisoned, I think, actually, was what it really was.
Both at the same time. Poisoned her and pushed her into the crypt and closed it on her.
January 1547, Ivan is now 16 years old, and this is when he's crowned the Tsar of all of Russia.
God damn, that's the worst decision you could make in your entire life. Making the 16-year-old man in charge of anything.
Yeah.
That's
he's
it.
in charge of
Done.
everything. He's in charge
everything.
of all of it.
The biggest country in the world. Oh my God.
He gets coronated. 2 weeks pass. He gets married to his first wife, not his last. We'll come back to it. He is now the supreme ruler of the whole country, not to be questioned on anything. This new title, not only, and I think you could probably expound upon this a little bit, what it meant to be, an Orthodox Christian in Russia back in these times. This title, Tsar of all of Russia, not only gave him that political power and political control, but it gave him full control over the faith of the country. He was now the divine leader appointed to enact God's will upon the country.
Yes, that's right. And because of that, you might get into that, so I won't say that. But remind me to come back to that if.
Okay. Anyway. Well, no, go ahead and expand, because I'll stop you if you're going to cover anything or if I sense something.
So I don't know. Well, it might not have even been Ivan, but one of the czars of Russia wanted to marry a European princess. And her father wouldn't let him because Russia was like savage. Like,
yeah, it was the
queen.
Them. It was the Queen of England wasn't into it. Yeah, it was Ivan.
Oh, was it that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
he had a whole argument with her about it. He's like, no, it's fine because we're over here. Don't worry about it. But no, yeah, I did see that stuff. I think we have a little bit of that in here. Okay. So the early part of his reign was actually really peaceful, and he was kind of a forward-thinking kid. He revised the law, some for good, some for not, maybe. He founded a standing army. He established the first parliament in Russia known as the Chosen Council. And he was also really focused on making sure that the entire country was in lockstep religiously. So he appoints one guy to run the whole thing.
Smart. Brilliant. That's the smartest thing you can do.
Control the message, right?
Yep.
And so he unifies all of the rituals, all the regulations across the entire country. He also says, all these little peasant towns, let's take one of our guys, send him in there. I mean, they can elect a leader. Either way. Whichever. It's fine.
Yeah. Hey, here's the guy you're electing. Oh, awesome.
You voted for him. In 1533... Again, being a forward-thinking guy, he says, you know what? I've heard about these printing presses around the world. Let's get ourselves one. And classic Russia, they all are like, nah, this is pretty newfangled change. and they burn the whole building down. They chase the guys that ran it out of town. Get out of Moscow. We don't want.
Get out of here.
We don't want your goddamn.
Get out of here. Yeah, get out of here.
Dude,
do you know what? Do you know what a Russian broom is?
What's a Russian broom?
A Russian broom is just a bunch of goddamn twigs that a lady grabs and puts all together, and then just twines it in together, and then just smacks at the dirt to try to get bigger clumps of dirt out of the regular dirt. I saw that happen all the time.
It'd be just more efficient to simply use a box cover and wave the dirt. Just
it's much more simple just to
fan
move.
the dirt. Yeah.
Just to move out of Russia.
It really is. So travel out of Russia to buy a broom somewhere else. So he gave the peasants their own governments, right? So that's nice.
Yeah.
Little problem though. Then he's like, all right, you guys have your governments in that little area. Let's have some rules restricting where the peasants can go. And now they're confined to their areas, and that eventually leads to serfdom.
Australia. Oh, yeah. Serfdom.
Yeah, serfdom. Let's say, yeah. There you go. So, perfect. So, Russia, throughout his time, is going, obviously, through just turmoil constantly with everything. Right. So there's
and every 9 months it's -20.
Yeah.
So it's like add that in.
Awful.
You're like, fuck. They had shit houses back then.
just shitty all the time.
Shit.
So yeah, they've got the cold, right? Drought, famine.
Russians everywhere.
Russians, yeah, all the Russians they have to take care of.
Terrible there.
So, and then they're obviously going through different wars, which I'll touch on a couple of them briefly. I'm not going to go through his war history because it gives a shit.
Right.
But
they won. They're still here.
Yeah, there's sea trade blockades out being carried on by the Swedes and the Poles, and they're just going through a bunch of shit. So his wife dies, his first wife, and it's suspected that she was poisoned. It wasn't him, and I'll explain later what happened. As I mentioned, it's not his only wife. So Ivan was shattered by this. You know, he's probably in his early 20s, I think, at this point. So this is a emotional thing for him to go through. It affects his personality. His demeanor changes a little bit. And then one of his closest advisors is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave and go join the Lithuanians, take control of some of their army, and attack some of Ivan's army.
Where I know it's weak.
Exactly.
Yeah,
where
I'm going to do some insider trading.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
No guys.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to hang out with Martha Stewartovich. I'll be right over there.
So between the wife dying and then this guy leaving and devastating a region of the border of Russia, he is paranoid and he's like, I'm fucking out. I'm done with this shit. And he claims there's embezzlement going on. There's tension in the aristocracy and with the high church, and it's just dirty, and I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah, he gave out way too much power. He spread the power way too thin. If people think they can get away with that,
yeah, so
way too thin.
So hang tight, DC, because you know what's coming next. So he says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a stand-in come in for me because I'm not necessarily done, but I'm probably going to need some convincing to come back here because this is fucking ridiculous here. So points the stand-in, and they're like, Ivan, you got to come back. And he's like, okay, but absolute power. And it's like, well, you were the czar, but I guess that didn't come with some power. So he says, all right, I need the rights to some simple things. Public execution at my whim. That would be a start, right? If there's traitors of the state.
That's the only thing I would ask for. Public execution of anybody at my whim. Is that cool? You don't want anything else? Not just that. That'll take care of everything else.
That'll be plenty.
It probably might only take 4 of them. Get all the power right back.
Don't you want free groceries? One will lead to the other. Do not worry about it.
I don't know. Does the grocer like being alive? I'll get them. Don't worry about it.
So he wants public execution, traitors of the state, no interference from the council, the what did I call it? The chosen council or the church?
The KGB.
Yeah, essentially that's what it turned into.
The church, right.
And that's what he's actually about to create here. And I skipped the Russian word for it. It started with an O. I knew I was going to butcher it, so we're just going to call it, his we'll call it his KGB, right? So he starts executing, exiling, or for the lesser offenders, just publicly shaving different members of the aristocracy around the country. Yeah, it was some kind of Russian insult back then. To be shaved.
For the beard. Yeah, because -20. Refer to -20.
Oh, that guy's gonna.
That really sucks to get your beard cut. I'm like, fuck, dude. This is gonna feel like the winter of 15-13 when I was 14. Fuck, this is gonna suck.
No, Mary, you had your beard at 12. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I take it back. That is a great punishment for like the lesser crimes. Like, get his beard. No, God, can you
they
just kill
shave
me?
him and take his mittens away. So he's killing people. He's kicking them out. He's shaving their heads, and he does this in this one district, and then says, let's do it in 8 districts. We'll see how that works. So they expand the program, and now he's really just taking full control.
Right.
And that includes during the epidemic in 1570. And this is a plague that killed 10,000 people in this wealthy city. Help me, Novogorod? How do you pronounce that?
Novogorod?
Is it an R? Yeah, I'm blind as fuck. It's not
Novogorod.
Yeah, Novogorod.
Yeah, new city.
All right, so 10,000 people died there. And they're losing 600 to 1,000 on the daily in Moscow. So during this epidemic, there's also a war going on. The Livonian War is going on, and
because the Livonians were like giving misinformation about the plague, and so the Russians had to come in.
So Ivan grows suspicious that the noblemen of Novgorod are planning to defect and go to the Lithuanians because they're losing people and this epidemic's destroying them. And some Novgorodian citizen, and not a Livonian.
And the newspapers won't stop writing about it.
But
I know there weren't newspapers then.
The printing press burned down. So the some citizen of the town writes the Tsar and says, there's this conspiracy. I think the nobles are going to leave. So Ivan sends his guys in, and they raid the city. And they burn the whole city, and the surrounding villages down. And that was a prominent place, and it never was again.
And people from everywhere gathered around the fires. Like,
The guy who got his head shaved is like pushing through the crowd. Get the fuck out of the way.
Get out of here. Bald head coming through. Don't you see I'm a victim?
The massacre,
I was oppressed.
The massacre lasts 5 weeks, which not that impressive based on how much ground they covered. But it was kind of how they did it. That was really the one of the reasons that Ivan earns his name. And it was men, women, and children. And what they would do is they would tie them to the back of a sleigh and then run the sleigh through the river water on the edge of the river. Which, DC, could you imagine that might be cold?
It's real rocky.
Rocky and cold. And then they would also take them, and I did some reading into this, and it seemed a lot of the stuff in the article that I found was translated from the way Russians described it. But the term,
that's a problem.
The term for this was pogrom, Pogrom. And from reading about it, it almost seems like, at a metal concert, like a Lamb of God show, they'll do the wall of death where they'll clear the pit. Everybody goes to one side or the other, and then they all run at each other. And that's what they call the wall of death. It's kind of like that, but then it's like actually kill each other. So that's the way that they were killing people in this town, is they were putting them into big piles of people and making them
Gotcha. And they're just playing like some weird Squid Game.
Exactly,
of Russia.
Yeah, pogrom game. They found
those references are probably going to make no sense in like 5 years.
Yeah, probably it'll just be
I say those
already.
things, I'm like, fuck, why'd I say that?
Nobody's listening to this in 5 years. They find the archbishop, who Ivan wasn't a huge fan of. So comes up with a fun way to kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Really, actually, more creative than other ways. They decide, you know what? Let's hunt this guy.
Nice. Yeah. Right.
That's a good one.
Give him a stick, and let him upgrade it as he goes.
If I had more time, I would have pulled a clip from Maverick. Speaking of references that don't matter these days.
Is that what the premise of Maverick is? Hunting men?
No, but do you remember in Maverick there's the Indian his buddy?
I don't, because I don't. I just thought it was about cards, so yeah, let's not get in that rabbit hole. But I was like, wait,
enough.
what? I gotta watch Maverick again.
Yeah, they do hunt a guy. They hunt Mel Gibson. Our gentleman retired tonight. It all comes full circle.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna watch that again.
So almost every day they're killing people, they're drowning people, but the official death toll is really hazy. Experts say 1,500 to 3,000.
Oh yeah, right.
Russia says 60,000. So, or
Yeah.
Russian historians.
And if Russian historians say it's that much, then it's way more.
It could be way more.
Because they're liars.
Well, it was after
And
the
all their
epidemic,
names are
so
the
they're saying
same.
a lot of people died. A lot of people had already died in the city, so they kind of were going in and just murdering all the rest of them. So, Ivan, 1575, he goes, you know what? My job sucks. I'm done with this job. And he appoints a stand-in. Does this sound familiar, DC?
It does.
And the stand-in, his name is Simeon, and it's almost like he's following orders of what Ivan wants him to do.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like that, but it's not what's happening.
Right.
So what's happening is he's going around and confiscating land that used to belong to the monasteries. Mm-hmm. He can't seize it for himself because he's the leader of the country. He's got to reappropriate it for somebody else or just give it to the government, right?
Yeah.
And he's not the supreme czar of Russia. He can't keep anything. And Ivan is publicly disagreeing with it. He's like, he shouldn't be taking this land. It's not his land. He shouldn't be doing this stuff. And then a year later, he's like, I'm ready to be king. And he gives some of the land to his friends, and he keeps the rest. As you do. As you do. As a gentleman would.
Dude, the Russians are still doing that, by the way. Putin was supposed to have like a 4-term limit or something that was like reasonable for Russia, right? Given their past, recent past. And Putin is so popular with the people because compared to the shit of communism, his way of ruling with like kind of capitalism and just letting people trade and stuff, they'll elect him forever. So he has the one law, like that one execution law. Just give me the executions publicly. That's fine. His one was, I can change any law I want without any veto. So his law change was, the term limits, they're gone. that was the one law they got rid of that. And then he was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm tired of being president. I'm going to put a fill-in. I'm going to put a stand-in in. He didn't call it that, but he just had him run in his place for that party. Medvedev, I think was the guy's name. And he was the president of Russia for like 2 to 4 years or something, from like 08 to 12 maybe. I don't know. And then Putin was like, yeah, I'm going to run for president again. He runs for president, wins, obviously, and he hasn't given back the power since. So,
and why would he?
Why would he?
Why
He's a
would
modern day Ivan.
Yeah, so Ivan, war hero. Let's touch on that for a second because he did it.
Okay.
He conquered that last city, Kazan.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Kazan's cool.
Yeah,
We've talked about Kazan on this podcast before. That's the one
guy?
city in Russia. That's a city in Russia that is completely Muslim, and they run their own shit with their own government, and they pay Russian government like a stipend to not have their laws. So it's just a completely autonomous place, and I wasn't allowed to go there as a missionary.
You telling me this. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Only Russian natives were allowed in there. It's awesome. It's the way it should be done.
Well,
and it was the greatest because it was made of gold. The town was made of gold, and it was clean, and they had neighborhoods, and like kids smiled and shit, like things that didn't happen in all the other Russian towns.
Russia. That's right. It was we were talking about it. The oasis in Russia.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. That's right.
Assalamu alaikum, Ida.
That one.
Nailed it, Mike. Nailed it. How do you think he fought into the fourth round there? Assalamu alaikum Ida.
Assalamu Ida.
He walked away.
Oh.
It's over. You're done with the interview. So Kazan Oskatan, he led his newly formed standing army into these places. When they went to Kazan, you talked about it. It's a nice place. They got walls. They got shit. So they needed battering rams, siege towers, mining under these walls. They brought 150 cannons with them. Russians also had engineers in the military.
And like okay, just for like reference, Russia, Kazan. It's like if like the United States government was like, all right, guys, we got to get Rhode Island. We got to go get them. And like Rhode Island is just fuck you. Like keeping them out. Oh, Kazan's the shit.
Kazan rules. So the problem for Kazan is that the Russian military at Ivan's direction, they've got analytics. They've got military engineers in the squad. So these guys are, they've got war tactics down, obviously, from centuries of war. So they immediately block entry. They fuck with the water supply. They breach the walls. Kazan falls. They destroy everything around it, like all of the raised structures and walls that were protecting it.
Yep.
Massacre the population.
Yep.
And Ivan is so excited, he builds a bunch of churches. He's like, you know what? We need churches in here. These people are...
Praise God
Praise
for
God.
what has been done here.
That's right. We need some churches built. And there's a legend, a story.
Or maybe it's like everybody needs to repent, like right now. For what we did. Churches. Everywhere churches.
Everybody go to church. Build yourself a church and get the fuck in it. So... So he built St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow after this. That was a celebration of the Kazan victory. And there's an old story that says that he was so impressed by the beauty of this cathedral that he had the architect blinded so the guy could never see or create anything as beautiful again.
Yeah.
This story
like
sadly is not
of that.
true. Yeah,
No,
it's not
it's
true.
like his
And
son
fuck
or
whoever
something.
ruined it. Yeah, fuck whoever figured out that it wasn't true.
Seriously.
So
it's awesome.
in the later years of his reign, the southern borders are getting fucked with by hordes of horseback
Muslims.
Dothraki Muslims. And so...
I love this show.
Me too. So he's got to deal with these guys, Khan Devlay and what is this, Crimea. And 1571, this guy takes 40,000 men and launches a giant raid. And mind you, this Livonian War is still going on. So you know how many men are protecting Moscow?
A lot?
6,000.
That's not enough.
That's not enough. So he devastates everything on the way in.
Yeah.
And then starts the Fire of Moscow, which I'm sure in Russia is a giant historical event, seeing as it killed anywhere from 10 to 80,000 people.
Yeah. Yep.
So, big fire.
And everybody gathered around it.
That guy's beard had grown back, but he wasn't warm yet. So he was so excited. Fucking so funny, dude. So this guy does not quit while he's ahead. He raids again the next year. And this time the army is on their way back. So he rides by and then the army comes in behind him.
Oh.
And they completely fuck this horde up. They capture that guy. Ivan executes him. Like I did a gun motion. I don't think he shot him.
No.
But he
probably rammed a pole up his ass.
Yeah, you know? He's a winner. He finds fun ways to kill people. I can promise you that. We'll get there.
Yeah,
We're almost there. The rule under him, again, was just absolute. And if you fucked with him, it was over. So the horde's gone. They have, during his reign, and again, we're not covering quite a few places that he sacked and took over. They basically explored most of and colonized a ton of Siberia throughout his tenure running the country because a gentleman stays busy.
That's right.
And speaking of that, DC, he had 6, possibly 8 wives. And
he's no Joseph Smith.
No, not quite. Only 4 of them recognized by the church. So certainly not Joseph Smith, who was marrying people to help them.
Right.
3 of these women were poisoned, including his first wife. And I said I would explain. All 3 of them suspected poisoned by men who had daughters that they wanted to marry Ivan. So they're like, we'll just poison his wife. Fuck it.
Perfect.
Yeah. 2 birds, 1 stone for that guy. New wife, and he didn't have to do it himself.
Yep.
So he, fun fact, was also a poet and a composer. I listened to like 5 minutes of one of his symphonies that was an hour long, and it was loud and marginally boring, so I didn't clip it.
Oh, so it's probably good.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty good. 1581. Ivan, another fun fact, or possible, we'll call it a fact. 1581, Ivan beats his pregnant daughter-in-law for wearing immodest clothing, which I like how this was phrased, may have caused a miscarriage. His second son, also named Ivan, heard about this.
Meaning that there was a miscarriage.
Yes, of course it does. Of course it means that. Yeah, it's like, which
might have been the cause of the miscarriage that did absolutely happen the next day.
Yes. It definitely didn't happen halfway down the steps, but it did happen the next morning. Yeah. So Ivan, his second son, so Ivanov, right? Upon learning that his dad has miscarried his child, gets into this heated argument with his dad. And Ivan gets so mad that he carries, you can see it in his hand there, this pointed staff.
Oh, yeah.
And he smacks him in the head with it.
Yep.
And that event is depicted in this beautiful painting, which I love the title. This is an Ilya Repin piece. Ivan the Terrible and his son Ivan on Friday, 16 November 1581, or better known as Ivan the Terrible killing his son.
Yeah. Why did you give the computer file name in the first one? That was weird. Or the other one. That is exactly what it is.
Or the other one, which describes perfectly what you're looking at.
It's like, what, the second one upsets the autist? They're like, when? When is it? When did it happen?
That artist really wasn't, studying how people are titling their YouTube videos these days. You got to get clickbait. All caps.
You know what's even, like, the most fucked up thing is, like, on Red Square, like, where everybody in the world goes. It's where all the taxes go. They update it. Like, they do renovations every year. Like, they really make sure that Red Square looks good. And at the end of it is, like, the most impressive temple with, like, all the craziest colors and, like, those onion-shaped tops on the stand, right? And there's a statue of Ivan the Terrible murdering his son with the stick in front of that temple. I have a picture of myself in front of it, like a jackass when I was like 20.
Every year they're doing renovations going, do we take down? We don't take down Ivan. Are you kidding me? So, so Ivan, he goes on to die from a stroke. He was playing chess when he died.
Too hard.
Which is pretty gentlemanly. Yeah, he was really straining himself. And his legacy, honestly, is completely altering the whole Russian government, foreign policy, the reach, the status on the world stage. Unfortunately, though, after his death, the throne was left to his middle son, Theodore, who was kind of a weak-minded dope, who died without kids and ruined his dad's legacy. So, too bad. Probably should have used that pointed staff before he played chess.
Dude, I feel so grateful that I got 2 sons out of me. I'm like, oh, I did it. All right, let's go. Now it's like, I like my chances. Let's go.
you got good odds there.
That's good
DC,
odds.
Ivan the Gentleman.
Ivan the Gentleman. I agree, dude. That was great. Oh, that was funny. All right, Casey. Man, maybe you should have closed. That was a great gentleman. My gentleman is a piece of shit. Who didn't make the cut for you, though? Who are your honorees this week?
I can't wait for yours. So, DC, during the ladies' show, I promised you some more parenting videos of the Asian variety.
Yes.
And
are we going to see like more like Jacqueline Chan kicking her friend's daughter?
Well, here we have a
like
a
you
classic.
can see in the ladies episode
ladies
if you
show.
go now.
DC,
Yeah.
the classic moment. Meeting your girlfriend's dad in college. The guy obsessed about
Oh
COVID.
yeah. Oh no.
Okay.
So
Because you didn't wear your mask.
but I feel like getting closer.
Okay.
It's not good.
Close your mouth. Wear some mask.
Close your mouth.
Do you read English? Do you read English?
No, I'm actually.
You don't read, right?
Don't read any English.
Okay, you don't read English. Then you should go back to your country, man. I don't know where you're from.
Is this a joke right now?
No.
Dora, are you just gonna let your dad say this to me?
So what?
Do you know how you guys have been treating me
Huh?
lately? I'm not talking to you guys about it.
Huh? So what?
So go back to my country.
Huh? I don't know. You see, you don't know English. I'm from Hong Kong.
Yeah, he's right.
I know English.
Yeah, he's right.
Come on.
Come on, what?
You don't know who I am.
Then, come on.
Sir, you're.
Show me. Show me who you are. I'm nervous.
Are you gonna get your husband now? Because he's yelling at me, trying to get me. to
Did
fight
I
him.
get? Yeah, beat me.
I'm
Come
not
on. I'm
Yeah,
so
beat me.
scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
gonna fight you. This is-
I'm scared.
I love that man.
He's great.
That's great. God, dude, it sucks. It sucks so bad. Being white, you know, for for all the reasons, but most especially for not being able to get away with that kind of shit.
Oh, it'd be a good time.
If my daughter brings home that gentleman, I'm not gonna get away with those jokes that
No, I
guy
don't
got
think
away
so.
with.
I don't think so.
And you
But I
know,
But
oh
I hope you
man,
go for it.
yeah, that is a Chinese dad's version of the guy with a shotgun, which is asking the kid a question. He's like, "Oh, you want to punch me? Punch me in the face?" You're like, "I am not fucking
No, I am not
punching
punching
Do
you.
I know how many exercises you did this morning that involved punching something that looked like me because you knew you were meeting me today. I'm not gonna do anything like that."
Nope.
But that dude totally bitched out. Like, if that were me in that position, you know, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, sir. Let me. I don't have a mask on me. You know, if you need me to, I can go." You're like, be a fucking person. Like,
Yeah,
are you
that's
gonna
true.
let your dad? Are you gonna let your dad talk to me like that? Dad, you have been kind of mean to me. And he didn't even listen to her at all because women's
fucking
opinions
shut
do
up.
not matter in Asian culture. Like, all he cared about, like, Asian focus, like, right on that guy's soul. And he was like, "I will find out who you are. Show me who you are." And he's like, "I'm a pussy. I'm a huge pussy. And I just have a huge Asian fetish. And I'm regretting coming here." With every last breath I have, I regret coming here. Oh man, that was a
Jesus
terrible
Christ, dude.
situation he got
So
himself
funny.
into.
Yeah, he had a bad day for
did.
sure.
He sure did.
All right, DC.
Yeah.
I know you like to learn.
Yeah.
Private land. Racist and violent.
This behind me is St George's Wharf in London. This pathway that I'm on is public space, but this park, if you can call that a park, isn't. It is for the use of the residents only, but as you can see,
He already insulted
there
it,
are
but
no
he's mad he
residents
can't
the
go
park
in.
because it's a shit park. And yet, I can guarantee that this park fulfills perfectly its role. It adds value to the surrounding properties, not by providing a pleasant space for the residents, but by asserting the exclusiveness of this complex. The only function of this area is to be a marker of social segregation. It makes the
Correct.
residents feel superior, and it sends the message to everyone else that they're not worthy of that space.
Yes,
This
that's
is
what
one of the
you
many
would want
ways
to
in
live
which the
there.
pace can be violent in this country and reinforce and affirm social segregation.
It's violence, DC. I got the guy's dad to
I'm
close, by the way.
poor. I'm poor. I can't live here. Dude, it's a shit. I don't want to go in there anyway. It's a shit park, but you know what? It's because it's racist. I mean, there's probably black people living in there that don't want you in their garden either because it's very, very meticulously cut. Like, that garden was on point.
It looked
Don't
great.
go in there. Don't go in there with your stupid having TikTok video. Don't messing up our vibe. Like, don't go in there. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Man.
What does that have? Whatever. Yes. If you had
Stay
the
out.
money, if you won the lottery, are you going to stay where you're living? No. You're going to delete all your videos you just made. You're going to delete all your friends that you have because they're going to be asking you for money because they're poor too. And then you're going to move like way the hell away from there and live in an apartment complex like that with a better park that is up to your standards because now you're rich.
He'd be sitting in the
fucking
park
asshole.
complaining about the bums walking around on the public sidewalk next to him.
Making videos. Like, oh, wait, shit, I just got caught in the multiverse. That's me. I just shit on myself. No! It just disappears. If you make fun of yourself in the multiverse, the universe wins. I don't know.
Away you go. DC, before my final honorary, I wanted to give a shout out because, well, not a shout out. I want to complain, really.
Okay.
I was watching a video earlier this week that I thought was going to be a perfect honorary. And the premise of this video was a guy found out that his wife had cheated on him.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to reveal that he knew to her in a unique way.
Oh, like blindfolded with like that kind of thing?
That kind of thing. And it was one of those things that the woman didn't speak for about a minute. And up through that 60-second point, it was like, probably not, but I'll hang in there. And I wasted a solid 2.5 minutes on this video and wanted to throw my phone into traffic when she spoke. And she was like, what? Is this a car key? I was like, I'm going to kill myself. How did I watch so much of this video? So you got to be careful. It was so fake.
You got faked.
It was so
Damn
fake.
it.
It was so fake.
Dude,
it was the worst.
Okay, so because we stacked ladies and gents, and I knew that we were going to do that, and I knew that my lady was going to be like less work for video clips, you know, I really focused my energy on finding clips for my gentleman, knowing I was going to need to do a lot of editing later, and then like rushing my lady's video edit. And when I went through all my shit, I was like, no, I forgot. Like, last night, I burned somebody so bad on Instagram just for being stupid women. Like, the whole thing was just stupid women with their pets. And it was, like, in reaction to a fake video, and I was going to bring it in. But, dude, there were 22 images or something like that of screenshots I got from the 500 comment thread that this one comment made. And I can't wait to give it next ladies episode. So again, make sure to go to patreon.com/2goddamngentlemen, because in 2 weeks, I'm going to have just the stupidity of women laid out that I couldn't fit into this video. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic.
I can't wait. DC, I'm ready to hand the reins over after my last honorary.
Okay.
And it's the McDonald's drive-thru proving once and for all that love's not dead. A beautiful proposal. She said yes.
God. So accurate. There's nothing better when I pick a fucking thumbnail of you reaction and it matches. That's the funniest fucking shit. That was disgusting.
It was awful.
Have some
horrible.
respect. Have some respect. Do it at Wendy's, you know? Like, be a little classy about it.
It's so funny that you said that because I shared that video earlier this week in a joking sort of fashion, right? And then got a very angry text.
Like, hey, babe, how about this?
Yeah, which I got a very annoyed text in reply, so the only thing I sent back was the Wendy's girl winking.
Yeah,
it's
perfect.
Wendy's is the play. That's where you have
Wendy's
to do
is
that.
the play, yeah. Taco Bell is
DC
probably worse. Taco Bell's worse than McDonald's. Somehow. I feel like it's worse. I don't know if it's worse, but I feel like it's worse.
I second guessed my song choice many times there. I couldn't.
Oh, you laid that over?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I gave too much credit to the camera person.
No, I had to find the right song. DC, that's it for me at long last.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I love that caption on there, the definition of anywhere, anytime, anywhere. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's the definition of where they're going to eat that McDonald's. That they probably
that's perfect.
scammed off of them, like, oh, this is our engagement. Can you give us a Happy Meal or something? I would.
Yeah. You get one of those ring pops.
Yeah.
Pass that
How about
along.
you got some of them old apple slices that the kids didn't want? All right. Without further ado, KC, my honoraries. I only have one, but it's everyone's favorite. So go ahead and roll the next clip.
Are you guys ready?
It's a race. Here we
One,
go. In the hotel.
3.
What could go wrong?
What are you doing?
Getting a 3.6 from Russian judge. He is not impressed. Dude.
Straight through the glass. Oh, sorry.
Straight through last. No, that's okay, because Patrick Michael. Nobody knows who he is, so it's not going to ruin anything. They're like, oh, that's his next honorary? Who the fuck is that idiot? That's my
no.
gentleman. That's my gentleman tonight. His name is Patrick Michael, I think. Everything I'm going to say about this guy is prefaced with, I don't know if he's doing a bit. If he is doing a bit, he is one of the most genius comedians on earth.
It is.
Otherwise,
It's Andy Kaufman level shit if he's doing it
Oh.
on purpose.
yeah. But Andy Kaufman had like a life and a background before, like, and came into comedy, you know, like it could be traced.
Sure, but that's what I like. It's actually worse or better than Andy Kaufman because he's gotten nothing from it. Like he's
Yeah,
gained
oh, yeah.
nothing.
Not yet,
So
until he's been on Two Goddamn Gentlemen. Now the money's going to start rolling for Patty C-Cups, as he's also known. He calls himself that. He has got Casey. Let's get into just a little bit of the background because I'm not going to get real deep into his into
I can't
his
believe
life.
that's what he looks like. I've only
Just
ever heard
his-
him before.
Oh, you've never seen him?
No,
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
I knew he had the big gauge earrings and I knew he had tattoos, but I
Right.
didn't know exactly what he looked like. No.
Oh, so okay, so you know what he sounds like.
Oh, yeah.
He sounds like he's a 19, 20-year-old kid, you know. He looks like a 19, 20-year-old kid. He's 33. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if he was born and raised in Indiana, but that's where he's living now. His dad abandoned him when he was a baby, and he's obsessed about that. Every so
redheaded.
often.
You didn't realize that's what happens?
Yeah, redhead. You got filth scalp. I'm out of here. Can't deal with that. So his dad abandoned him when he was a baby, and this guy, Patrick Michael, has 20 to 40 podcasts, individual podcasts.
He's a prolific podcaster.
Well, you would think he was, except that like 3 of his podcasts, sometimes he'll run the same episode across all 3. Sometimes he'll run one episode across all of them because he thinks that, well, he's probably right. His SEO is so fucking terrible. Like ours, you know, I try to keep uniformity to the thumbnail so that like the YouTube page looks crisp. Like you look at our things like, oh, sick. Okay, cool. Like it's easy to read. Like you don't have to focus on a lot of shit. Like 2 pictures and the names. Like cool. Awesome. His shit is all over the place. He names his podcasts with like the @ sign in them and like things that you could never find his podcast if he told you what it was. Like it's so bad. And so a whole bunch of people who follow closely who are these podcasts. This is where I found him originally. They brought him on to make fun of one of his podcasts that somebody recommended that they listened to. And then after it was so crazy on this show, and who are these podcasts if you've never listened to them before? It's a podcast that takes other podcasts. Please do not ever find our podcast, and brings them on and shits on them and just like points out every little thing that they've ever done wrong. And they got a hold of this guy's podcast and ripped him so hard that I guess whoever suggested it said like, oh, there's way more. Check this out. I suppose. I don't know the whole lore, but somebody's in on like how many podcasts he does and what he names them. And so he had a podcast with his wife. He's married. He's got 2 kids. His wife works. I don't know what she works as, but I know that he's a stay-at-home dad. So it must be enough to afford their life in the trailer park.
She works as a depressed woman.
Yeah, she works as a depressed woman, and she's great at her job. And they live in the trailer park. So, you know, I don't know. She may be working at the Dollar General. Who knows? But he has 20 to 40 podcasts. And you'd think, when the fuck does he have time to record? Whenever he wants.
All day.
As long as it's not noon. He'll do it at like 3, 4. But if you're like, hey, dude, noon, you want to join my podcast? No, can't do it. But I'm the Dick Show. Like, we have a lot of followers. Like, it could probably be good for you. What time do you record, though? Noon? Yeah, not going to do it. He turned down a fucking spot on the Dick Show. Anyway, he does it at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning from a closet. And he has a shitty microphone and shitty headphones that he's proud of. He spends like $5 on Five Below headphones. And he's like, yeah, I've got like 15 of them on my wall. Like, why the fuck would you need 15 shitty pairs of headphones? Just buy one awesome pair of headphones and have like $50 left over. Like, what are you doing?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, right?
Why would you do it that way? That's stupid.
So he
stupid.
has. I am stupid. He worked at KFC or Taco Bell, one of the two. Some Pepsi serving location, and he got fired. So he took his shirt off, like right in the middle of the restaurant. I was like, good, and like threw it at them or something. And then I guess like did some kind of like gorilla chest pounding or some other type of like alpha pretend
Weird
thing.
Yeah.
Like where the beta's like, this is angry, I'll do this. So that I can't believe he did that.
I would love to have video of that.
Yeah, I would love to too. There is video of him. We'll get into it a little bit later. His podcasting. So I talked about who are these podcasts. They got a hold of one of his podcasts. He started doing a podcast called The Briefcase. And the reason he named it that is because he would do just a very brief, quick segment on something for maybe 10 minutes, like rarely more than 15, 20 minutes. So it was nice. Like you could listen to it and it was funny because this guy has so many quirks. He's a walking contradiction. You can hear his kids crying in the background when he's doing his podcast. You're like, ah, shit, dude. Like, that's just no good. That's no good. Yeah. He brought his wife into a podcast where they reviewed movies, but then he would just shit on all her opinions. So she'd just never talk. So it just ended up being another one of the podcasts where he just did it. Because all you could tell.
It's the best kind.
Oh, my Lord. One of the podcasts, The Briefcase, he still does. I think this clip is from a month ago. So it's fairly recent. He's been doing these podcasts, 20 to 40 podcasts, for years. Years. He should be the best broadcaster, best podcaster, best orator, best
editor.
Think off the okay, how that was perfect actually. I'm just going to leave it there. He should be all that, but he isn't. This is just going to be one image of like clips separated. So as soon as it goes quiet, just push pause and we'll get it that way. But this is a terrible opening, Casey.
Welcome again to the Briefcase Podcast. Today's episode could be about anything. Do I have any idea? Not at all.
Why the reverb? What the fuck was up with that?
Yeah, the effects on his voice are completely unnecessary. And every podcast ever could start that way if no one did prep for anything. Like,
So-
of course it could be about anything.
So whenever Patrick Michael comes into the podcast like this, and he does it a lot, it inevitably shifts to like what's going on in his life and podcasting, which is trolls trying to become his friend and like get on his show. Yeah. I did that.
Yes.
I was this close until someone named Levi fucked it up. So fuck you, Levi. Anyway, he is obsessed with people fucking with him to the point where he trusts nobody. He just preemptively attacks people just for saying like, "Hey, dude, your show's cool." Fuck you, dude. You don't like my show. Like, how can you garner like true attention that way? You can't. So it's just hilarious. So all of his 22 patrons,
High school Casey,
which
high
is
school Casey can attest that doesn't work with women either.
Yeah,
You seem nice. You don't think that?
what's wrong with you? What are you, stupid? Probably stupid. But he just attacks them preemptively, and he figured out that this Levi fuck was fucking with him because his daughter came on the computer and narked him out. Like that. If your kid narks, if your kid narks on you, you don't really need to know much more. Like, it's kind of an asshole. Like, oh, your kid told on you for doing something? That's retarded.
Why does your
So
kid
Levi-
know, why does your kid know you're trolling Patrick Michael?
Exactly.
Thing to tell your kid.
Exactly. So this is a clip of him talking about how he knows what we're up to, Casey. And I just want to know who narked on me. Next clip.
You're gonna come and listen. You got to do your research, you know? You got to clip it, but you're simply there to take pieces of it and send it to your good friend, just so he can have a laugh and just make a better show, because I was a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. So who narked on me?
He's definitely talking about you.
Casey, he talks about like just an example of like what he would say to one of these people, and then he like goes on, and it starts to feel like all these names are real and took place at some point. Next clip.
Right? What am I gonna change because somebody named Dennis? He said it's not good or funny or whatever. Who cares? It's not for you, Dennis. Brian. Nicholas, right? Not for you. George, Greg, Jeff. It's not for you, maybe.
I believe all those people told him his show sucked. And I think those are all their real names.
He's looking at his email inbox while he's doing that segment, just reading.
That was just Thanksgiving. That was just his uncles and cousins at Thanksgiving. It's not for you, Dennis. Uncle Dennis.
By the way, I've heard Patrick Michael plenty of times on Who Are These Podcasts, right?
Sure. It's a great show.
I always either listen to that in the car or, if I'm my headphones
beating off.
Yeah, beating off. I haven't had good headphones in forever, so I never listened with headphones. The only good earbuds I have are for the media we play on the show, and they're in my left ear. His microphone is terribly upsetting with a headphone.
So low.
It's
low.
really low, and you have to turn it up so much that you're picking up everything happening. Everything happening in his mouth is very clear, and it's just all of it's really, really upsetting.
It's really bad. It just gets muffled. This clip I labeled weird reverse psychology.
I could give a shit, man. I would be happy the day I put out an episode for free and it got 0 downloads. And I mean that with any podcast I do.
Well, I mean, you must be real happy. You got 40 podcasts. You probably do that all the time. Like multiple times a day, you have a podcast that gets released and gets 0 downloads.
He's got 40
and
podcasts
it was free.
you know about. He might have more, right? That no
Chewed
one's
gum.
ever found.
Chewed Gum. Do You Party? 9-minute podcast. Fucking dude, he has The Briefcase. There's so many. That was just the top 4. Those are the only 4 listenable ones. Ghost Town. Ghost Town.
I remember Ghost Town.
Oh my god. So this is I mentioned it before, but he's a walking contradiction, and this clip outlines it perfectly, Casey.
You know how I know? Because all I'm seeing is good things, okay?
Good things.
I'm seeing nothing but good things. Everybody, has had this general thing of like, oh, you get harassed a lot. And where you might see that and have that general opinion, just know that I see nothing.
What? I thought all you said was good things. What are you talking about? I see nothing.
Dennis, and Philip, Jeffrey, and Mark, and Andrew. Maybe what you're saying negative about the show means the show's not for you. Now, on the other hand, I only see positive things. And on the third hand, I see nothing.
Yeah.
So, what the fuck?
He's ridiculous, dude. He's ridiculous. It's so funny. And this seriously was all from one 17-minute episode, and it was probably like a 10-minute like bracket, like where all the clips were pulled from. It's so funny. Casey, not only does he podcast, but he fancies himself a stand-up comedian, as you can tell in this picture that we've had prominently in the background. Casey, what's the 2 most important jokes for a stand-up comedian? It's real easy.
Opener, closer.
Opener, closer. Here's his opener.
Well, guys, I think it's about time we start acknowledging how good it is being a ginger. It's so good. Anybody who has had red hair their whole life, we know how good it is. It's so good. We get all the benefits of being a human, and people love us because we're different. No. All of these things are lies. People hate us. And I don't know why. But if I can say who I hate, it's simply a ginger who also fears clowns. It's like, if you never looked in the mirror, Pennywise, that's your doppelganger. What you doing?
Nailed it.
I have never once thought about how many of my red-headed friends hate clowns, and I never thought about how ironic that was. That is really funny.
Casey, he is obsessed with fucking redheads and their lookalikes to clowns, and they're just this next clip is minutes later and many different topics later, and it still made its way back around to this next clip.
In our natural state, we already look like a clown, basically. I mean, it's like Andrew Santino. Even though he has no matter how much he brushes his hair or trims his beard, everybody's still not going to think he's handsome because he has a fire crotch. We know that. You can guarantee it. And when that's the case, it's a lot harder to convince somebody to be a sexual partner.
Where are the jokes? What was that? He is obsessed with how ugly he is and how fiery his crotch is. It's all he could talk about. He's like, and when that happens, you can't convince somebody to be a sexual partner, and then you die alone. No laughs? Oh, all right. What? Dude, this is stand-up. Oh, must be a bunch of gingers in this room not getting jokes.
It's the most innocuous stream of consciousness ever. It's so inconsequential. It's not that it's not just not funny. It's nothing. It's not even interesting. Like if Neil deGrasse Tyson did a stand-up bit where he's talking about like science and trying to make it funny,
it still
might
would
learn
be
something.
Yeah, exactly. KC, we talked about it already. Opener, closer, you gotta hit them. Opener, swing and a miss. Closer, next clip.
Fatty Arbuckle actually lost a lot of his fame when he was allegedly accused of killing a woman by rolling over on top of her. Now, obviously, that is a way you would die from a giant fat man, have you been sleeping with him. But the unrecognition of a body being underneath your body is absurd. I don't care how fat you are. You're gonna feel bones. But had his nickname been, I don't know, Slim, there's a good chance they would have never even accused him of rolling over on her. I guess my point is, most jokes are topical jokes, depending on when you're born.
That was his closer, dude.
What is going on?
Fatty Arbuckle was fat. Slim would not have made sense. The joke was funny because he rolled over on his wife and he was fat or whatever. And his name was Fatty Arbuckle. And he won that lawsuit, by the way, because it was defamation, I think. Or the opposite.
If there was a fat man named Fatty,
right,
nicknamed Fatty, that rolled over on his wife and killed her, but his nickname wasn't Fatty, actually. It was actually Slim because, like, it was an ironic nickname.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was like someone made it up. It was a rumor. That's what he was trying to say in his stupidness.
I understand that, but if I'm giving credence to it for a second, just go with me for a second.
Okay.
If a giant fat man nicknamed Slim rolled over on his wife and then she died, and then the cops had to come and investigate, and they're like, oh, she died from asphyxiation. Maybe he rolled over. His nickname's Slim. It wasn't him. Like,
clearly wasn't him.
What the fuck does the nickname
Don't you know what logic is, you idiot?
He goes, I guess my point is fucking nothing. Fucking nothing.
Yeah, KC, my point is he's a singer also. Did you know that? I know you knew that.
I seem to recall some metal, if I'm remembering correctly.
Metal is one of his specialties, but KC, the song that I clipped here, because it's my fucking favorite, is his attempt at rapping. He wrote this, actually, on SoundCloud as his alter ego, Animal Crossley. If you've got a fast trigger finger, if you can go to the next image and pause it real fast before the song starts. There you go. Perfect. There he is, Animal Crossley. He is he's rapping in this next one, and it actually is pretty good. Like, go to SoundCloud and look up Animal Crossley. You can see how it's spelled right there. Go listen to Snakes in the Grass because the rapping is great. It falls apart at the chorus, I think, and you'll see why.
Being in this shit, trying to make a fucking meal. Yeah, them dollars steady coming and I need them to stack. I've been doing this shit while watching my back because I know them snakes in the grass. Oh yeah, I know them snakes in the grass. Yeah, and I see them every day. I see them every day.
Oh my god.
He sees him every day.
It's so bad, dude. It's so bad.
It's so fucking bad, dude.
Oh my god.
Oh, but the rapping was fine. That's the biggest shame about this, is that he just did it to himself. Like, there was no need to turn it down in the middle of it for no reason.
And and by the way, you gave him a little credit there saying the rapping wasn't bad.
Well, that was the worst part of the rapping. Part before that I clipped. It was better before that.
It's so, yeah.
I'm not trying to do him any favors.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it still wasn't good.
No, it really wasn't. Casey.
Rapping is so easy inherently, too. It's just fucking rhyming. It's not that hard.
It isn't that hard. Casey, another thing that's not that hard is to see how gentlemanly this man is. Patrick Michael, I give you my gentleman of the night.
Wow. Animal Crossley. Fuck,
Animal
dude.
Crossley, Seamus McKillian, Patty Seacups, all of them Patrick
names.
Michael.
He's got all the names. Oh, great job, DC. Ivan the Terrible and Patrick Michael. What a fun episode that is. Tell everybody where to find all of the things.
First and foremost, if you haven't gone to patreon.com/2goddamngentlemen yet, I don't know what you're doing. Just go there. It's real easy. Become a gentleman. You'll get the bonus episodes and you'll get the video versions of the regular podcast the same time as the audio comes out. Otherwise, you got to wait a week and then get it on YouTube like a schmuck. Don't do that. Just become a $5 gentleman. Be a $10 gentleman. You get to join the show live. You can chat, tell us our jokes suck and whatever else. Maybe we're looking ugly. You tell us that. And then go to iTunes and rate our podcast, guys. Give us 5 stars because that helps the algorithm, and then randoms that, you guys aren't telling about your podcast. Maybe your friend will get told by iTunes that our podcast is awesome, And then go to www.2goddamngentleman.com, vote on our gentleman in the voting booth. That's about it. That's all I got, Casey.
Well, we undoubtedly brought 2 gentlemen tonight. There's no questioning that. But because we enjoy doing it, I guess the search for the ultimate gentleman continues.
That's it. Thank you all for coming today. That's a wrap.
There's no place in our cognitively complex society for 1 in 10 people.
I have no intention of keeping any promise that I make.
All right? All right.
Meeting adjourned.